Timothy Busfield in court, appearing in handcuffs as cameras flashed and whispers rippled through the courtroom, marked one of the most shocking and unsettling moments Hollywood has witnessed in recent years. For decades, Busfield's name was synonymous with thoughtful performances, moral authority, and quiet leadership, both in front of the camera and behind it. He built a career on playing grounded, principled men, fathers, professionals, leaders, characters audiences trusted. Now, that carefully constructed legacy sits at the center of a legal storm that has stunned fans, colleagues, and the entertainment industry as a whole. Busfield, an Emmy-winning actor and respected director, arrived in a New Mexico courtroom facing allegations that fundamentally altered how the public views him. The charges, criminal sexual contact with minors and child abuse, are among the most serious accusations anyone can face. Beyond their legal weight, they carry an enormous emotional impact, particularly because they involve children and are alleged to have occurred in a professional environment where safety, trust, and responsibility should have been absolute. From the moment Busfield turned himself in after an arrest warrant was issued, the case escalated at lightning speed. Photographs of the actor in custody circulated almost instantly, dominating headlines and social media feeds. For many fans, the images were deeply unsettling. People who had grown up watching Busfield on television or admired his behind-the-scenes work struggled to reconcile the man they believed they knew with the accusations now attached to his name. Longtime supporters expressed disbelief, while critics questioned how such allegations could remain hidden for years and whether the entertainment industry once again failed to protect vulnerable individuals. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Busfield appeared subdued and restrained, his posture rigid, his expression serious and withdrawn as prosecutors outlined the case against him. Gone was the confident presence audiences were accustomed to seeing on screen. In its place stood a man confronting allegations that could reshape his life permanently. Every word spoken in that room carried immense weight, not only in legal terms, but in emotional impact, as observers absorbed the gravity of what was unfolding. Behind him sat his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, whose presence added a powerful emotional dimension to the proceedings. Gilbert, a beloved figure in American pop culture, has long been associated with warmth, innocence, and resilience stemming from her early fame and decades-long career. Seeing her seated in the courtroom, visibly emotional, occasionally wiping away tears, struck a profound chord with the public. Her unwavering support for her husband became one of the most discussed elements of the case, sparking conversations about loyalty, belief, and the complexity of standing by a loved one during a public crisis. Gilbert submitted a deeply personal letter to the court, describing Busfield as the man she knows privately, a devoted partner, a caring father, and someone she believes is incapable of the acts he's accused of committing. She portrayed a husband who values integrity, who has spent years mentoring younger performers, and who has consistently advocated for safe and respectful work environments. Her words were emotional and heartfelt, offering a portrait of Busfield that sharply contrasted with the prosecution's allegations. While not evidence, her testimony underscored the human cost of the case and the emotional toll it has taken on their family. The prosecution, however, presented a very different narrative. They detailed allegations involving two young boys, both under the age of 12 at the time of the alleged incidents. Prosecutors argued that Busfield abused his position of authority and trust, claiming the alleged conduct occurred more than once and was not accidental. They emphasized the vulnerability of minors in professional settings and warned of the dangers of minimizing accusations simply because the accused is well known or respected. According to the prosecution, the alleged victims disclosed their experiences later, triggering investigations that included interviews, medical evaluations, and therapeutic assessments. Prosecutors argued that the accounts showed troubling consistencies and should be taken seriously. They insisted that courts' responsibility was to prioritize public safety and protect potential victims, stressing that the charges were not speculative and that the alleged behavior, if proven, would carry devastating consequences. Busfield's defense team responded with force and determination. They highlighted his decision to voluntarily surrender to authorities, emphasizing that he did not flee or resist arrest. They pointed to his lack of prior criminal history and decades of steady employment without previous allegations. The defense argued that the claims surfaced years after the alleged incidents and raised questions about memory, timing, and possible external influences. They also referenced early statements in which the children reportedly denied inappropriate contact, suggesting inconsistencies that, in their view, weakened the prosecution's case. In an effort to humanize their client, the defense presented numerous letters of support from friends, colleagues, and industry professionals. These letters described Busfield as professional, respectful, and deeply committed to ethical conduct. Supporters emphasized his long-standing involvement in actors' organizations, his mentorship of younger talent, and his reputation for advocating fairness and safety on set. The defense argued that the accusations were incompatible with the character described by those who had known and worked with him for decades. The most pivotal moment of the hearing came when the judge considered whether Busfield should remain in custody or released while awaiting trial. This decision carried enormous symbolic and practical consequences. Prosecutors argued that the seriousness of the charges alone justified continued detention. The defense countered that the law requires more than allegations, insisting that pre-trial detention should only occur if no conditions could reasonably ensure public safety.
After careful deliberation, the judge ruled that Busfield would be released under strict conditions. The decision immediately sparked controversy and intense public reaction. The judge emphasized that pretrial detention is not a punishment and that the ruling did not reflect a judgment on guilt or innocence. Instead, it was a procedural decision based on legal standards. Conditions were imposed to limit any potential risk, including restrictions on contact with minors, bans on alcohol and firearms, and mandatory supervision through pretrial services. As the ruling was announced, emotion swept through the courtroom. Melissa Gilbert reportedly broke down in tears, overwhelmed with relief that her husband would not remain behind bars as he prepared his defense. The image of her emotional reaction quickly became one of the most powerful visuals associated with the case, symbolizing both personal devotion and the human stakes involved. Outside the courtroom, reactions were swift and deeply divided. Some members of the public expressed outrage, arguing that anyone accused of crimes involving children should remain detained until trial, regardless of status or reputation. Others urged caution, emphasizing the importance of due process and the presumption of innocence, and warning against condemning someone before all evidence is examined in court. The case has reignited broader conversations about accountability in Hollywood, child safety in the entertainment industry, and how allegations are handled when they surface years after the alleged events. It has also raised uncomfortable questions about public perception, how fame influences belief, how reputations shape narratives, and whether beloved figures receive different treatment than ordinary defendants. Busfield has consistently denied all allegations, maintaining that he is innocent and that the accusations against him are false. His legal team have stated they are preparing for trial with confidence, asserting that evidence will ultimately clear his name. Prosecutors, meanwhile, remain firm in their commitment to pursuing justice for the alleged victims, emphasizing that their focus remains on accountability and protection. As the case continues, every development will be scrutinized. Court filings, hearings, and testimony will fuel ongoing debate and media coverage. The outcome remains uncertain, but the impact is already undeniable. Careers have been disrupted, reputations questioned, and personal lives placed under an unforgiving spotlight. Once again, the entertainment industry finds itself confronting difficult truths about power, responsibility, and trust. This is more than a celebrity legal case. It is a cultural reckoning unfolding in real time, one that challenges audiences to grapple with complexity, emotion, and uncertainty. Whether Timothy Busfield is ultimately exonerated or convicted, the questions raised by this case will linger long after the final verdict is delivered. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.